remarks.
I will defer to,
I'm going to say no.
so no references to slates.
We're just going to keep it, no references to other candidates, just to keep this, it's all about you right now.
All right, so at this moment, I'd like to welcome Steve Juliuson, Mary Garrison, Freddie Johnson, Colleen Root, and Elise Gibson Duda. Welcome to candidates Matthew Karen and Scott Corley could not attend today's forum. All right, so time for opening statements, and we will begin with Steve.
Hello, my name is Steve Juliuson. I live in Public Works. I'm running for the WPD board because I want open beaches, open lands, and open government to return to the Park District. I served on the Winnetka caucus for 2 years on the Parks Committee. In 2024, I drafted the Organic Parks Pesticide question for the caucus survey. Our committee also vetted candidates for the upcoming Park District election. We tried very hard to select candidates who were both capable and transparent. I decided to run after I learned that one of our slated candidates did disclose a conflict of interest with their spouse, who currently sits on another village board.
I believe that's a violation of the agreed upon rules, no mention of other candidates. Thank you.
I feel that the Park District Board needs to be open and honest, and has to start that way. If that's important to you, please vote for don't say that. Please vote for Steve Julius and me on April 1st. Thank you.
I am Mary Garrison, and I'm running for Park Commissioner. I know what you're thinking. Why would I volunteer again for the Park District after already serving our community? The answer is simple. I care too much about Winnetka's parks and our shared spaces to idly sit by. Parks and Recreation has been a part of who I am. Our green spaces, lakefronts, aren't just nice to haves, they are essential to our well-being. Our parks bring people together and support an active lifestyle. But once we lose our open space in Winnetka, we can't get it back. That's why I'm committed to protecting it. Winnetka's leaders had the foresight to create these spaces for us, and it's our responsibility to preserve them. We need to ensure that everyone, families, young professionals, and seniors alike, has access to affordable and meaningful recreation opportunities. Take our lakefront, for example. It's a treasure. Centennial Park in particular is a standout, a place where we can all enjoy stunning views, rolling waves, and peaceful sunrises. Recent decisions by the Park District Board have put some of our spaces at risk. 2 years ago, the board commissioned a study labeling some parks as underperforming. But let's be real. Open space is never underperforming. That study led to the sale of Library Park, with the proceeds going directly toward a massive $17.8 million project at Elder and Centennial Parks. Do you understand? The entire project is being paid for by taxpayers without a referendum, without state grants, and just tax dollars. Winnetka Parson.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Freddie Johnson. I'm running for Park District Commissioner. My wife and I both grew up in Winnetka. I went to Greeley, Washburn, New Trier. I participated in Park District sports growing up. I played for the Winnetka Hockey Club. My first job in the 9th grade was working for Tom Gullen at the Winnetka Ice Arena. Over the next 6 years, I worked at the Park District, golf course, the Parks Department, the ice arena, and the beaches. Great experience. And when I moved back from getting my MBA in 2009, I took a job in the city in finance and was commuting up here to Winnetka to coach for the Winnetka Warriors Hockey Club. That lasted for about 12 years. I made some amazing friendships, relationships with families that have kids that have graduated college, all the way down to families with kids that are still coming up through the program. And what I've noticed in that time is there are a lot of private clubs that are competing for our kids' time. Beyond that, there's technology that's competing for our kids' time, both social media and smartphones. It's also competing for our time as adults. I'd like to increase the quality and quantity of opportunities that we have to be active, to get out and be active. We know how crucial it is for our kids' cognitive development and how crucial it is for us as adults for our mental health. I would like to do this while being fiscally responsible, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Colleen Root, and I am an attorney turned park commissioner. This election is a real opportunity for this community. We have 3 open positions, and it's an opportunity to transform the direction of the Winnetka Park District, and specifically the Winnetka Park Board. I want to thank the League of Women Voters today. I want to thank the Congregational Church for giving us this opportunity. I am the only incumbent commissioner running for election, and I was slated by caucus. And as I started thinking about my comments today, what I realized is that the 2024-2025 caucus platform expresses who and what I stand for. Specifically, when I look at when I started in 2021, we had a park district budget of a bit over $14 million. Today, our budget is $23.4 million. Folks, this is your money, and it's up to you to decide how you want to use it. I agree with, I'm not allowed to mention Canada, I'm sorry. What capital projects, what programs, what facilities that you want. Right now, we are focused on one very large and very expensive capital project. You may not be aware, but $2.2 million has gone in this project. We've not put a shovel in the sand. We don't have one permit. What I'm suggesting today is the concept of open beaches. Let's get Elder open for this season. Open lands. Let's protect our green space. Let's not give it away for 50 years to a single resident, and open government. What I mean by that is complete transparency. We, the board, listen to you, the community, and we do what you say. I
Thank you,
hope you'll vote for me. Thank you.
My name is Elise Gibson-Duda, and I'm very thankful for having this forum in order to introduce myself. My family and I have lived in Winnetka for 17 years. We moved here from Texas with 2 very young daughters, and then my son was born here. And we've really had an idyllic time raising our children here. But when I think about that time, I think that on a daily basis, we were using Park District programming, facilities, and beaches. It's just been a part of the fabric of our lives. And I realized also that that was made available to us thanks to the efforts of people who have served on the board previously. I feel like it's my time to give back to the community, and thanks to the people that provided such a wonderful experience to our family. I also think that I have skill sets that are very helpful to the board. I served as a corporate law partner in a very large Chicago law firm that's now national or worldwide. And I was a corporate lawyer, so I was putting together deals, and for that I have acquired very good listening skills and consensus building skills. I also have my MBA from the University of Chicago, which will be helpful in reviewing budgets and so forth for the board. My goal as commissioner is to keep moving forward with Park District mandates and to have a strong working relationship with the village and the other taxing bodies. I will represent the interests of the residents of Winnetka, those who are new to Winnetka, those who are raising families in Winnetka, and those who are aging in place. Thank you.
The opening statements, let's hold applause until the very end of the forum if you would. It's also good chance right now to do a mic check. Can you hear all the candidates all right? Think we're okay? Right? And to the candidates, if you know your turn is next, be ready to approach the podium. The first question, we'll start with Mary. Mary, and the rest of the candidates, what are your primary goals and overall vision for the Park District?
My primary goal is to protect the open space. If any space becomes available, any land, to try to purchase it. But do not take our open space away as it exists today. I would also really want to look at programming and look at our facilities that need extra help, that just haven't been quite up to par.
Primary goals are to, one, have a functioning Park District Commissioners Board, a board that also functions well with other taxing bodies, and a board that works well with the Park District staff. Beyond that, as I mentioned in my opening statement, I would like to increase opportunities, both quality and quantity, for our youth and our adults to get out. And I'd also like to be a better bridge with the community, get the community a little bit more active, a little bit more vocal, particularly the parents that have young kids at home, they're working full-time, both mom and dad, and really just be transparent, make sure that everyone is impartial and objective. Thank you.
My primary goal for the Park District is to listen to our constituents, to respect their comments, and to implement what they have asked us to do. In order to do that, we do need to work collaboratively with other governmental units, in particular the Village of Winnetka. And I believe that that is very possible with the leadership that we have on the village board. When I looked at the platform from the 24-25 caucus survey, and I read the report, I recognized that what was asked by caucus of the Park District is what I really stand for. Caucus asked that we get Elder Lane Beach open, have an interim plan to do it for 2025. And so if elected, I stand ready to work with my fellow commissioners to get that done. Caucus said that we needed to relook at a donation agreement for Centennial Park, specifically a restrictive covenant that gives away for 50 years a public park. If elected, I stand ready to do that and to also consider the other donation offer that was brought to us. Caucus Plank asked that we consider organic technology on our parks and beaches. I stand ready to work to do that. Most importantly, again, what I stand for is listening to the community, respecting what you say, instituting programs that you want, like a swimming pool, at least a feasibility study. Comes around every 10 years. Caucus platform asked for that. So we need to do that. And again, we have a comprehensive plan. Let's see what the community wants before we spend $17.8 million on one project. Thank you.
The caucus vision, I agree with on platform 1, and I think that Elder Beach needs to be open as quickly as possible, but in a very thoughtful way, and it has to be opened in a way that sort of plans for what the future of Elder Beach may be. With respect to platform 3, I'm also supportive of exploring organic methods of maintaining the parks. With respect to platform 2, I am going to contend that the analysis done in caucus was actually erroneous, and that is actually governed by Robert's Rules. And Robert's Rules is very clear that the platform, that the community that you do not have overwhelming community desire to disband the donation agreement. It is close, but it's not the analysis that was done. And you know, that's something that's to be looked at further. I do want to fact check one thing, which is that the donation agreement does not give away property to a property owner. The donation agreement has a restrictive covenant in it that says that the dog beach will be a dog beach for 50 years. That is not giving away property, okay? So that is one thing that I want to be clear about. But overall, my goal would be to complete park district mandates that are in process right now, and then further to look at the comprehensive master plan, to come up with a strategic plan based on community responses that represent a majority of the community, to come up with feasibility plans, and then take a look at what the community wants. We are here for the community. We are not here for our agendas. Thank you.
Freddie. And the question for all candidates is, what are the biggest challenges facing the Park District, and how do you plan to address those challenges?
Kind of going back to my last answer. Some of the biggest challenges facing the Park District, one, some of the tension that we've had in the Park District between the board itself, the board, Park District employees, and the board and other taxing bodies. As well as the lakefront, everything encompassing the lakefront, down from our neighbor at the south, all the way up to the stormwater, which I think is actually already been passed. But that's going to be one of the biggest issues as well, is getting that complete. And beyond that, there's a lot of new potential projects that are coming up, a lot of studies that are coming up. There's been time, effort, and resources that are going to be allocated to those, including the ice arena, paddle court. And then in the survey, they talked about there's a large response for a rec center or a pool. So these are things that we are going to need to continue to communicate with the community, and then also figure out if there should be time, resources, and capital.
To me, the largest challenge facing the Winnetka Park District is the lack of transparency and the lack of the ability of the community to truly know what is going on. As a fellow candidate just suggested, there are a number of desired capital projects that we hear about, whether it's a swimming pool, a multi-purpose center, an additional sheet of ice. And I think that it is important that before we move forward on one capital project that is going to consume our future financial ability to do other things, that we need to have the results from our capital plan, our capital study and strategic plan, and the community needs to weigh in. One of the biggest disappointments that I have heard from the community is when you have a capital project and it is going to involve somewhere between $17 to $20 million. You take that project out to the voters and you let us, the voters, decide. The other problem that we have is the ability to work collaboratively with our village. And I think it is so important that we find ways to sit down and to be able to communicate with our village lower commissions, with our village trustees, but that we do it in a very open and transparent fashion. We don't take something behind closed doors and try to take an entire beach plan and negotiate it as an intergovernmental agreement without the ability of the public to be there to listen to what we're doing and to have the ability to comment and weigh in. Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
So on several things we agree. I do think that the most important part of the mission for the board is to make sure that they have communication and that there is clear communication. I'm supportive of transparency, and I think that the most challenging thing for the Park District Board is to try and share with the public the extremely complicated relationship that is developed over the Elder Centennial Project, and to do it with accuracy, but in a way that can be processed. And one of the difficulties is that we have a community with a lot of very busy people, and so to provide that information in a clear and concise way is very challenging. It's also a dynamic situation. You have the village involved, you have a homeowner involved. So it's very difficult to be precise, but it would be my goal to be as transparent and clear as possible on that project. And that really has been, I think, the most challenging thing in front of the board is this particular beachfront project. I think that there will be other challenging projects coming in. A lot of people have ideas about an outdoor pool. A lot of people have ideas about an indoor pool. A lot of people have ideas about a multi-purpose space. Those are all things still to be worked through. And as a board, we have to be willing to come together with the community and to communicate, and we need to also be willing to work with the other taxing bodies, and one of the ways to achieve that is through intergovernmental negotiations and agreements. And sometimes to do that, you initially probably do have to just be meeting together, and then eventually to share that info. Thank you.
Steve, and I'll repeat the question because you're the furthest from the microphone. What are the biggest challenges facing the Park District, and how do you plan to address those challenges?
Yeah, so the thing that just, everybody kind of says the same thing, but what really jumps out here is there's a real lack of listening. You've got a lot of board warfare. You've got some people typify them as like a renegade board. They need to listen to the community. We need to have open meetings. Right now, you can go to a meeting and you can give a comment, but you cannot get an answer, which is crazy because we should be able to do that in a democracy. I went around, I got signatures. I talk to people when they sign, I get to chat them up a little bit as we talk. And a couple of times I turned into therapy sessions because the people were so frustrated not being able to get their programs to get onto them because of the website. And the website is a fairly easy fix. I mean, it's going to take a little time. But for example, you've got basically a bad platform, and you can't do anything about the issues around not getting into a program because the website is too blocky and will not accept the load. Aside from that, building on that's a lack of programs. We have people who really want to do tennis. They can't do that. They want to do soccer or whatever. The summer camps are not long enough. They go from 2 weeks after school gets out. That's a big frustration with people because they have their kids at home for 2 weeks and they go crazy. So I think if we can, basically look at those things and make it not always about the beaches. I think we need to fix the beaches, but the beaches are messing everything up for the Park District, and right now we have a credit rating issue as well. So that's a longer-term thing to fix, but essentially it's listening and focusing on other things. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
Do you mind repeating the question one more time?
Yes, ma'am. What are the biggest challenges facing the Winnetka Park District, and how do you plan to address those challenges?
Okay, well, I don't want to leave the beaches, but I sometimes don't think this lottery system for our boats to be stored down at the Lloyd Beach is a good system. It brings in money to the Park District, but it has a lot of unfairness with it. And it's not something that I like. I would like to look at that again. Outsourcing our programs. It seems that we outsource so many programs, and in the long run, we're not bringing in revenue for the Park District. It costs us to outsource this, and I think that sometimes we shortchange our customers with outsourcing. I'd like to kind of just take a look at that again. I'm very much for listening to the citizens. it's the absolute way that it has to happen. And if there's a project the size that is being proposed at the lakefront, it must go out to referendum. Just absolutely has to go to referendum. We had to look at our taxes. Our taxes have gone up pretty much. I know we're a small portion of the big pot, but percentage-wise, our taxes have gone up. And I would like to see the committee system that we used to have happen again, so that we could bring in some outside citizens and get their comments on things that are going on. Thank you.
Thank you. For our third question, we'll start with Colleen. The next few questions get into some specifics. And I'm going to try to fold in some of the questions submitted by our audience here. The question is, it has been reported there are challenges getting lakefront-related permits passed by the village through ordinance. With regard to the plans for Elder Centennial Parks, do you think it's possible to get permits under the current permit process, or will an intergovernmental agreement be necessary? It's a compound question. The second part is, under what conditions would you consider abandoning Elder Centennial plans and focusing the energy of the park district elsewhere? So is it possible to get permits under the current process, or will it require intergovernmental agreement? Under what conditions would you consider abandoning the plans for Elder Centennial Parks?
I think, as most of the community may know, we were the very last North Shore community to implement lakefront protective ordinances. And that implementation was as a result of a project that's immediately south of Centennial Park, where the owner totally destroyed the bluff and built a very large headland beach system. As a result, our council worked for over 13 months and they implemented lakefront protective ordinances. Every other North Shore community that has bluffs has them. And parks are able to do things on the lakefront with them. As a result, I think it is absolutely possible for this community to have the Centennial Elder applications go through zoning, planning, and design and review, and then ultimately go to the trustees, without question. We had, with zoning, over 14 hours of hearing. With planning, we were set for our second planning hearing when there was a sudden decision on the February board meeting to take this all behind closed doors in an intergovernmental agreement negotiation without the ability of the public to see. To me, transparency, again. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
Under what conditions would you consider abandoning the Elder Centennial plans and focusing the energy of the park district
Thank you.
elsewhere?
I don't think we need to abandon Elder and Centennial at all. I think that Elder needs to get repaired and opened. I'm not sure that it needs to have a $7.8 million plan to do that. And Centennial also needs to be, there's an area on the bluff that needs to be firmed up, and we need to get the debris out of the lake. Commissioner James, who is with us today, has told us about that.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
Elise?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course. I'm not sure I understand. With regard to the plans for Elder Centennial Parks, do you think it's possible to get permits under the current permit process, or will an intergovernmental agreement be necessary? Second part, under what conditions would you consider abandoning the Elder Centennial plans and focusing the energy of the park district elsewhere?
So, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage to answer this because I'm not sure what the difference is between developing an intergovernmental agreement and working together in an intergovernmental way. But so I'm going to try and answer this. I think there is no way to get permits under the current ordinances without operating in an intergovernmental way. So I do think that the taxing bodies need to get together and come up with a solution here. That said, under no conditions would I consider abandoning the Elder and Centennial plans. Elder has been closed for 4 years. It has to be opened, and certainly there are repairs that need to be made both under the water and with respect to the Elder Beach Pier. So that's as much as I can answer that question.
Thank you. Steve?
I have to agree with Elise because I think you'd have to work intergovernmentally to get anything done. But to me, that's not really the issue. The issue, as far as I'm concerned, is it's an end around to do that. What's happened is you have never gotten a real true coastal engineer to come in and look at this thing. So basically, you know, the village is going to look at it and they're not going to have confidence in it because we don't really know what the water, whatever you call it, the thermography, not the thermography, the hydrology or whatever it is, that governs the wave action and stuff. Right now, we had this guy Shabika put in breakwaters, and people said that they strip sand away on the other side of those breakwaters. If we had to put in sand replenishment, that would be very expensive year after year. So I think that's going to have to be a thing where we go back to basics and figure out how to do a really solid plan. I don't think we should abandon doing anything with those beaches, and I know there's been talk about doing something that's a lot cheaper as far as Elder Beach goes, comparing the pipe and bringing the pipe farther out. It wouldn't have to cost anywhere near what we're contemplating paying for, and we could get it open in the meantime, work to a bigger, better project. So I think that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Mary?
I certainly don't remember the whole question, but there.
I'm happy to repeat it.
Okay, that would be great.
With regard to the plans for Elder Centennial Parks, do you think it's possible to get permits under the current permit process, or will an intergovernmental agreement be necessary? Second part is, under what conditions would you consider abandoning the Elder Centennial plans and focusing the energy of the Winnetka Park District elsewhere?
Thank you. I believe that we can get through this process for the beaches, for the two beaches, as it stands in the village now. For years, the village and the park district have worked hand in hand, and there's no reason that it can't go through the same process. If you go behind the doors and have only a few people with this intergovernmental agreement, whatever it is, you're hiding things, and it should not be hid from the public. We are not transparent as far as I'm concerned in that thing. As far as the intergovernmental agreements, I understand what Lisa's saying about questioning. We always have had them, but not behind closed doors. That's how I look at it. So I feel that Elder and Centennial must continue on. We go through the process. There's work to be done there. We want to make sure that we consider ADA accessibility. It's at one park halfway, and the other park doesn't have it. It does need it, so we need to get that figured out. I figure that is big. I don't want to see these big piers on either end, because for one thing, we will not be getting the sand that comes down naturally to our park, to our beaches. I am against where the dog beach and the swimming beach is at Centennial, because the stormwater, people are swimming in the dirty water, the dogs are swimming in the clean water, and I think that kind of needs to be taken care of. But as far as the parks, they need a little assistance right now. Open Elder, it's been closed for 4 seasons, and we never know who's there. It's outrageous.
Thank you, Mary. Freddie?
What I've witnessed so far in attending board meetings, zoning meetings, is that it's pretty difficult to get anything done. And so from a permit standpoint, I'm not sure, but it seems to date that it's been extremely difficult. As far as abandoning Elder and Centennial, I think it would be very sad that if the community decided that we should abandon the plans, and that we should just get this beach open with as little as possible possible. I think that the original plans for Elder and Centennial, the Headland system, were beautiful. I think it was, and I worked at these beaches in high school, and I think one continuous beach that would really retain beach water, or beach land, beach and sand, would be a great thing for the community. It would be your tax dollars hard at work. And when I moved here, my wife and I said, the two best things, and this is what my parents said too, two best things that Winnetka has going for her are schools and lakefront. Yet, I have friends that now belong to Gilson, and they don't go to our beaches. I think that if we have a headland system and a prize beach, it would be a great asset for this community.
On my record, we have 15 minutes left before closing statements. I think we've got time for maybe just one more question. Thank you to the audience for submitting them. We'll start here with Elise so that she's had a chance to start a question as well. Touched on that. The Winnetka Park District not only provides the community with high quality facilities, it also offers programs and events. The question is, what is your perspective on how the Park District currently operates its programs and events? Do you think the Park District could explore expansion of its offerings, including through partnership with third-party privately operated organizations? We'll start with Elise.
All right. So the programming piece is probably my favorite Park District piece, and it's actually not something that I think the board has day-to-day work with, but you know, if I told you all the programs my kids have done, I mean, you've probably never even heard of some of them, and they're just amazing. So I think that I agree that the quality of programming is excellent. I think that the caucus survey shows that people are happy with the programming. I'm interested in some of the problems that have been described with respect to the website, because that's actually not what showed up in the caucus survey. But the truth of it is, that's an easy fix if that's a problem for the Park District. I think that an expansion of offerings would be a great thing to do. I think there is a lack of teen offerings that I'd like to see, and I have some ideas on that. And I also would like to see some more offerings for seniors. But one of the relationships, and I'm going to say this, and it's something that maybe has been explored a lot, but I'd like to see, you know, sort of work with the community house. The community house right now is very much an area where the seniors are served, and so can the Park District be part of that? I don't know. But certainly always looking at an expansion of programming would be a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Steve.
Kind of more of the same what I told you before. There's a lot of frustration out there about these programs. The question I think you were asking was, you want to go to third parties? Is that the question?
The question is, what is your perspective on how the Park District currently operates its programs and events? And do you think the Park District should explore expansion of those offerings, including through partnership with third-party privately operated organizations?
Yes, everything but the last part. They should definitely have more of everything. We're falling short of Glencoe. I know people are going to Gilson. I spoke to the Elmhurst Park District woman, the woman who ran it, the executive director, about how they did their website. They have the same problems that we have here. It basically comes down to bad hardware, old hardware, and old iron, and they're getting it the cheaper deal here. It's more expensive. It might cost maybe $10,000 more or something to upgrade everything. It would take about a year. You might lose some data when you migrate it, but that's okay because you could also input some stuff that you lose. But I mean, it's something that you have to do because you'll never be able to get this fixed if you don't have a better website. I mean, it doesn't matter. Then when you get the better website, you don't have enough programs. It's a problem. Like we said, talked about before, you have to have a longer period of time for summer camps. You need to have more local homegrown people who are teaching or instructing. And finally, the thing that's really missing is that this is not a park district for Winnetka proper. It's for people who are coming in using boat berths, or they're signing up for paddleball through somebody who's local, and they're pushing people out who live here, who pay the taxes and all these facilities. So I think that this could all be done. It just has to be a lot more stringent oversight and a really good customer service bit, which seems to be missing. Like I said, the woman I talked to before had been upset for 9 years. She'd never been able to get her kid into the different courses she wanted to. And we spent about half an hour on the porch talking about this, so it's a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
Programming. I don't think we should be outsourcing everything. So if we could keep some in-house, I do feel we'd get more bang for our buck. So if we could try not to outsource as much as we do, and I find it very sad when there was a there was a daddy-daughter dance or night out, and some kids could not get in there. And I think to go back to school the next day and tell everybody how much fun you had with your dad and not you couldn't get in is a pretty sad thing. So I hate to see anybody excluded from any of these. The website and the registry, I think, has been covered. That needs to be brought up to date if that's what the problem is there. Teen offerings, it's always been very difficult to program different programs for kids, for teens. Seniors is another issue, but there are other options for seniors. And so I think that we need to do maybe some intergovernmental trade-offs with Glenview or whatever. That has been done before, and that can at least ease the pain. And for instance, Wilmette has a wonderful gymnastics program. I don't think we do that, but it would be nice to have some government agreement between that. I find it to be a very hard area, but I'm pretty much what Elise is saying. I'm in agreement. Let's do some working on the programming for our kids and our citizens.
Thank you. Freddie?
I can speak from personal experience here. My daughters are in figure skating. They've done baseball through the park district, tennis, soccer. And so I think it comes down to common sense, actually, as far as outsourcing to third parties. Let's do what we're good at. If we don't have the resources and we're not good at some sort of programming that there is a demand and space for, then let's outsource it to someone who is. We've had good and bad experiences with both in-house, I guess you could just call it, or outsourced. Both sides. So let's do what we're good at. Let's be logical and pragmatic here. And if there is a question of, and also let's look at what other park districts are doing, and then let's also look at the question of if it's something that should be in-house, then why aren't we able to do that? So, and then as far as expansion goes, yeah, I think there's opportunity. Just like I said, I'd like to increase quality and quantity. I'd like to have quality and quantity increased for programming. Pickleball, paddle we are one of the biggest paddle organizations in the country. And a number of other programs as well. So I think that there's always going to be opportunity for more programming. Thank you.
Thank you. We've got time for another question. You were all so efficient with that one.
Colleen,
Yes, Colleen.
May I answer?
Yes, please. I'm sorry, Colleen. Of course.
You didn't get to see the other question.
Program.
I'll answer that one.
Program.
All right, here we go.
Do you want me to repeat the whole question?
No, I think I have a question.
Thank you. I apologize.
There is a young lady in this room in the back row who loves the figure skating program. And I can't say enough about our wonderful park staff in the enterprise units and what they do. One of the problems, for example, with skating, is we have teens that want time to go free skate, but there's just not the ability to do it because everything is all booked up. So when you look at these programs, it seems that facilities are unfortunately inextricably intertwined with the ability to offer expanded programs. The Glencoe Park District has done an excellent job of bringing their programs in-house, where they actually have Glencoe Park District staff that offer these programs. And one of the suggestions I'd like to make to the future district board in the district is, why don't we sit down with Glencoe, talk to them, see why they did this, why their programs are so successful. Because when we outsource everything, as one of our other candidates said, we're losing the opportunity to bring that money in-house so that we can do more for more people. As I think through this issue, one of the again, going back to caucus and a desire for a pool, I think it makes sense to sit down with perhaps the Village of Northfield and see what we could do collaboratively to have a pool together. And for all I know, that may also be with Glencoe. So I agree, this is something that's very important. I think the young families are being cheated here because we've had this tunnel focus on one issue and we're not looking at these other issues for young growing families. So I hope the new board does. Thank you.
Steve, we're starting with you. The question is, the Park District has engaged the community on development of a comprehensive master plan. Please share your insights about the comprehensive master plan and its implementation. 1 minute, please. Steve, yeah, we're starting with you, Steve. We'll back up at the top. You want me to repeat the question?
Yeah.
The Park District has engaged the community on development of a comprehensive master plan. Please share your insights about the comprehensive master plan and its implementation.
There's been a lot of kind of gaming results for that. I think the problem is, I think Elise brought it up, people here are very busy and they don't have time to understand it. They kind of hope things will just function well, and so they're not really engaged. And the people you do get in who are going to answer this thing are the way the questions have been structured in such a way that it's vague enough where it all sounds good, sounds wonderful. But I don't really think that based on what's been given for information on that, it's going to be easy to implement it. So I can't say that I'm really for the comprehensive master plan at this point, because I'm not sure what exactly it is. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mary. 1 minute.
The comprehensive plan has been around in various forms for many years. I find the questions that are asked are repeated. Sometimes they may be not detailed enough. For instance, I know somebody who wants an indoor pool, not an outdoor pool, so maybe it needs to be a little more detailed. There are so many things we can do for the future. There's some things though that I find has happened, and that is the Easter egg hunt. We now charge for that, for little kids. I don't understand why we do some things like that. Now that's not even asked in the comprehensive plan, but what's the decision on having some free options for the citizens who pay taxes?
Thank you, Mary. Colleen, 1 minute.
Can I go?
Oh, I'm sorry, Freddie. Freddie.
I'll be quick, don't worry.
Okay. 1 minute, Freddie.
As far as the comprehensive master plan goes, I'm not all that familiar. I know that the survey went out to, I think, 300 or maybe even 3,000, I'm not sure how many families. But hopefully we get some good feedback on that. Something that will be simple and we can learn from. And then I know that we're able to fill out a survey as well, and we've engaged very done, and it will be done this spring, is what I'm reading. I hope that we can learn something from this and actually come out with a good vision for the entire community. So that's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Colleen?
I'm very excited about our March board meeting because for the first time, commissioners will get to see the very done comprehensive plan report. I would have liked to have seen a draft of that, and perhaps our executive director may share us a draft so that we will be prepared as we listen to very done. But I know people in this audience have participated in focus groups because they've shared it with me. We've gone to Fall Fest where we had the opportunity to put dots on a board on facilities that we wanted to see, new ideas that we had. And I'm pretty confident that if the plan by Barry Dunn, who I have the highest respect for, and the principal who is coordinating all that, is an experienced park person, I have great confidence that if we take the data we receive and we deal with it honestly and openly, and we get a plan that actually reflects what the data is, we're gonna have new information to help this community with facilities and programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Elise?
So with the comprehensive master plan, there were yard signs all over Winnetka with a QR code that you could bring up and anyone could answer the survey. There was widespread invitations to focus groups, and I think that the Park District really tried to gather as much information from residents as they could. And I participated in the survey, I participated in one of the focus groups, and the focus group was a really interesting exercise. But I look forward myself to hearing the results of the comprehensive master plan to see where the Park District will have its next mandate from the residents as to what to focus on. And what the Park District will do is they will take the results of the master plan, they'll come up with a strategic plan, I think I already said this, and then they'll come up with feasibility studies. And just look forward to hearing what the next Park District product will be. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Under 2 minutes for a closing statement. Thank you very much. And hold your applause till the end of everyone's closing statements.
Okay. So I'd like to serve as a commissioner on the Park District Board. I think I can bring a lot of insights and skills and passion to the board. I'm sort of an all-in person. I think if you look at the way I've lived so far in Winnetka, I take a deep dive into things. I'm thoughtful. I have a good educational and professional experience as my background. And I think I have to adjust this from tall Mr. Steve. I am certainly someone who will work toward consensus with taxing bodies and other board members. And I'm also someone who I really see my only job as a Park District Commissioner to be to listen to the wishes of a majority of Winnetka people, our residents. I don't think that, while I am curious to hear what the insights of everyone is, I think that we can't just listen to squeaky wheels. We need to be listening to what the majority of residents want. I think that that's probably something the board has always tried to do. So we have to figure out ways to elicit more information from the community. And I'm not exactly sure what more can be done, but I have one idea, but that would be a goal of mine. I see my role as a commissioner newly on the board, if I'm elected, to fulfill Park District mandates that have already been put in motion. I don't, as a board member, want to engage in hindsight or rethinking what the board has already done. I think we have to respect the process that has already taken place, and that would be my goal as a commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleen?
As a new commissioner, your first year, you're on a real learning curve. By the time you get to year 2, you're somewhat effective. By year 3, you've really got it. You understand what's going on. And by year 4, you can be quite a productive member of the board. And that's why I hope that this community will give me an opportunity for a second term. To me, it is all about, again, open parks, open land, but most importantly, open government. I've watched during the last year as we have gone from 2 meetings a month, a committee of the whole meeting at the beginning, to 1 board meeting a month. I have watched as the dialogue, discussion, opportunities for commissioners to share has been cut short. Where some commissioners are cut off after 2 or 3 minutes, while others are given 20, 30 minutes to speak. I don't think that's respectable, and I think that in moving forward, I would hope that whoever comes on this board is willing to be respectful of all of the board, to listen to them, actively listen to them, and hope to reach consensus. In dealing with other governmental units, we have great opportunities. We work well with our school district. We can work well with the right candidate board members elected with our village. So I want to thank each of you for coming out on a beautiful but cool Sunday and taking your time to come and listen to the candidates. And I, again, open beach, open land, open government. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Freddie?
From my understanding, there are a few critical roles of the commissioner. Oversee a budget, we have to be a bridge in the community, and then also ensure that the executive director is doing his or her job. Now, I am very comfortable overseeing a budget, analyzing historical expenses, historical data, comparing to revenue streams in the Park District and tax revenue as well. That's something I'm very comfortable with. I also have a pulse with people in the community that have young kids and older kids, all using Winnetka Park District programs. I'm very open-minded. I will come from a place that is going to inform, educate, and also take in information objectively and impartially. That's going to be crucial for the next board. And I think that we also need to just take a second here and realize that it's our job, again, to be, a bridge with the community, but also to implement what the majority of the community wants. We have to listen to minority views, but implement what the majority wants. And at the end of the day, if you're on a board, you have to be a team player. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
Again, our slogan, open beaches, open lands, open government. Winnetka Park System has an incredible history. And as our community evolves, we need to make sure that it continues to serve everyone. That means protecting open space, recreational programming, and finally, open Elder Beach, which has been closed for 4 years. I want to thank Gina for all her effort in getting this whole forum going, and thank everybody else here for coming, and thank the church for giving us this room. I also want to tell you that the reason I'm running at this point is I've had a lot of experience, and I am around the community all the time. I've been off the board for a while, and people still ask me Park District questions. I have attended the meetings for the last 3 years. Maybe every, I don't know, I think I've missed maybe 5. But I am up to to speed on what is going on in the park district. And I was a lover of parks and open space and programming, and I hope to be slated for this board. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve? 2 minutes.
You may have heard this before, but open beaches, open lands, open government. This should be our mantra from now until April 1st. We have a window of opportunity to make the Park District open to what we want. Open beaches, more and better programs and facilities, and transparent leadership. The alternative is another 4 years of paralysis, waste, and secrecy. It's possible that today in Winnetka, a child going into middle school hasn't been allowed to swim in the beach at the beach since he or she was in kindergarten. That's unbelievable given the taxes you pay to your park district every year. But we can make a change for the better by choosing open beaches, open lands, and open government. So please vote for me, and I will do everything that I can in my power to make it happen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Thank you to your neighbors and the candidates for the And on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Winnetka-Northfield-Kenilworth, thank you for coming this afternoon. I'm sure the candidates would be glad to have conversations with you now that we've closed the forum. To stick around while the league sets up for the next forum for school board.